Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the East Cocalico Supervisors meeting to order for Thursday, August 4th. Please stand and join me with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, I'd just like to ask everyone to double check any electronic devices, make sure they're either off or they're on vibrate so they'll ring during the meeting. This meeting was duly advertised in the Lancaster newspaper on December 1st of 2021. There were no executive sessions held since our last Board of Supervisor meeting. Yeah.
Yes.
And Lorenzo Benora is zooming in for this meeting. So that's why we have the monitor here, so he is live on Zoom. Okay, gentlemen, we have the past meeting minutes for approval. Any changes, corrections, anything at all? I don't have any.
No, there's none for me either.
All right, so I will make a motion to approve the July 21st Board of Supervisor meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Motion carries. Okay. Action items, land planning.
Yeah, the only thing for the land planning engineer tonight is the Village of East Cocalico developer has extended a written time extension offer, which would extend the board's deadline for action on that final plan until November 15th, 2022. They're working, and I know there's a lot of them, but they're slowly working their way through everything. PennDOT permit for the access road's been a little bit of a challenge, but they're working through things with PennDOT on that. So they would like to, they're offering that service.
And you didn't expect anyone actually for this one? Okay. Okay, just for full disclosure, I live in Quail Hollow. I live in Quail Hollow, and I actually served on the board back, I've said this in previous meetings, back when a lot of these initial discussions were held with the developers as well as with our board of Quail Hollow many years ago. So there's no financial interest on my part or at all. So this is an item I can actually vote on. I do not have to recuse myself on this one just because I live in the development.
And full disclosure on my part, in the past, I've recused myself from several votes pertaining to this development, but I have ceased my business relationship with the developer last year. There's been no interaction with myself and them this year, and I don't expect any in the future. So, on advice of counsel, I am allowed to vote on this going forward as well.
Thank you. Okay, so I will make a motion to accept the written time extension offer as submitted by the applicant's consultant dated July 28th, 2022, which will extend the deadline for action on the Village of East Cocalico subdivision and land development plan until November 15th of 2022.
And I will second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any questions, any comments about that? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. That motion carries. Okay. And,
Marcy,
yes, sir.
Renzo doesn't have sound. Lisa does, is also on Zoom, but I'm not sure what's going on.
Does he need to be unmuted?
I asked, he said, not
Can he hear us?
Lorenzo, can you hear us? Shake your head yes, so.
I think he can.
No. Okay, let's try having him drop out and come back.
Modern technology.
But it works.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Wait and see if he can come back up.
Yeah, I'll give it a minute. Let's see if he comes back in. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Back in? Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We'll move on to action item 4B, which is the proposed rezoning request. And just for the record, at this time, we do not have Lorenzo that has joined us, right, Ken?
He's back. Appears to be muted.
I'm back.
He is
We
back,
can hear you.
okay. So you can hear us now, Lorenzo?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so we will now continue with action item 4B, land planning engineering proposed rezoning request. And I correct my earlier statement, Lorenzo has now joined us.
I'll just give a brief summary of this item. Harvey Turner, property owner, and his consultant, John Fuhrer, are here to discuss this with you. Harvey informally discussed the proposed rezoning of the mobile home park property, that's the Brownsville Mobile Home Park, at our planning commission meeting a few months ago. Basically, that property that the mobile home park sits on is not zoned mobile home park. It's the only one actually in the whole township that does not have a mobile home park zoning district designation. He would like to expand the mobile home park, and in order to do that, he would need to have a zoning of, the whole property, to bring the current portion into no longer a non-conforming use and then to expand. So the planning commission did, majority of them said they viewed the rezoning concept favorably. It was not, of course, a formal recommendation because we don't have a formal zoning ordinance in front of us, but I just want to let you know that's where we're at. So the next step already was to come to you informally and talk about what he wants to do.
Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm John Fuhrer from Harvey Turner. Just a little bit of information so that we're all on the same page. I have plans with you. This is a sketch plan that we did some time ago for Harvey, after bought the property, excuse me, bought the property, and wanted to expand. Of course, the first thing we found out was that the property was not zoned properly. And in reading the information in the zoning ordinance, wasn't sure whether we could do anything. However, again, I don't know if you want a copy of this. This is your urban growth boundary, and I don't know if it's up for everybody. But
I've got it on the computer. Yeah, yes, sir, I've got it on the computer.
in the lower left corner of the map, you'll see Cox Hill Road, and it's down right in here. This property is in the urban growth boundary along the south side of Cox Hill Road. It is in the urban growth boundary, so it does meet the requirements. It's in an area where we could expand mobile home parks. However, it's not zoned as a mobile home park, it's zoned as a residential property right now. He does have mobile homes, as you see on that plan along Cottsville Road, he has quite a number of them. We would like to expand that. To do that, we have to do something in zoning. The easiest thing, of course, is zone it for mobile home park. We're basically here to discuss what we can do and how we can go about doing it. If the township is amenable to zoning and wants to move ahead with that, we'll work with them any way we can. And I don't want to take a lot of time up discussing it, but I certainly would like to address anything and answer questions. Again, the sketch plan is nothing more than that at this point too. It's based on the county plots the contours, and you see it's quite steep in places. But I think we can do a development quite nicely in there. Again, some of the things that we have to discuss is the existing mobile home park, of course, doesn't meet the lot requirements, so we would have to have some type of a waiver on that as we move ahead. And, you know, as far as planning goes, that's something that we can work on as long as we can move ahead with it.
And what I was thinking with the 55 and over community, and with probably 90 to 95% all bubbles in there. And if the minimal, depending on how we lay it out, is like the one part rides and that's so a lot of them. It all became one entry too.
So just a question. Looking at the screen here, there's 25 units in there now.
30.
There's 30 units in there.
I think we looked at that based on the site and zoning. It's under a mobile home ordinance, it would be able to put 98 units in by zoning.
Total.
So you're seeking less than that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. With the slopes that we got to work with and with the stormwater requirements, it would be pretty difficult.
Planning Commission, Brent, I think went over a lot. He typically does a lot of factors that would need to be taken into account in terms of, streets and all kinds of other things. So this is very conceptual, and I think the numbers that John is talking about is a maximum density A maximum density would be the 90-some units you're talking about would be based on the maximum density number.
The 98 unit density is based on the ordinance,
Right,
right?
so,
We would not,
we wouldn't be able to do that. So it's very possible that it wouldn't necessarily even look like this. I think you had done this just as a very
it's a concept, yeah.
concept.
There's also land when you come in the driveway to the left. But yeah, it's just a concept plan. You might be able to put one or two. Just kind of hit the basics.
All of the layout that we have, basically, are 60-foot wide. They meet the local orders, right, that's the way it's laid out. So, I mean, what we have there is a concept probably done. It's, again, grading and setting up each lot. There are some things that would be nice to be able to, if we didn't have a lot configuration in the ordinance where you could do a community a little bit differently, you could probably do a lot more with it. The way the mobile park set up in lots. You have to pretty much stick to that type of configuration.
And you'd like to do this without touching any of the existing units that are there.
Correct. John has it on the plan there, if you look at it, as the second unit coming out. There's room above the very top mobile home. I think I measured it's about 60 feet, that we could possibly take the road on the other side of the very top mobile home. The lot where he has the road going through now is actually at the road now.
The ideal is that we might lose one of these, but in general, we'd like to keep what's there.
As you spoke to the engineer, is there any egress issues in and out of the existing?
It's way too, I think, early to talk about that, but I do recall there being some concern about the slope as you move down the road.
Yeah, I think where we have the entrances, we got site distance.
You had to go up that high to get that, I think.
So I think we're doing site distance. I think we're probably looking at putting a small access road in front of us there now, so that the existing units don't all come off of the road, so we tied up the two entrances. But again, we're far from being in that 90 state.
Understood.
So thoughts?
It's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute. Thought.
Again, we're not asking for any major decision tonight if we can work together. I mean, if it's a doable thing and we can work together and work it out, certainly that's our goal, is to hopefully get to the point where we can know that.
And this is just my opinion. I don't think, it's for single family dwellings now. I don't think anybody, if I sold it tomorrow, would develop it, because I don't think they're going to drive through the home park, do a development of single family homes. So I just think it makes sense at 5,500.
You're solid on that designation.
Yeah.
This would be the first that we have in the township. So,
Is that 55 plus?
They actually had that at the other meetings. They showed that on the stuff last year.
So in your thought process, there is some similarities.
Very similar, yes.
Yeah. So, well established. So we had a call in there. So you're right.
The norm is 55 over. I'm not for that. I'm not saying that from a police standpoint is the norm is ambulance calls. It's not. They don't normally generate any other calls.
Understood. Well, I guess as an overview, there'd be some hurdles to jump there for sure, with the slopes and land designation.
Yeah, as far as the design, it's not so simple process. It would take some design effort to make it happen. But again, the first effort that we have to deal with is can we do it necessarily? So that's kind of where we are.
We're stuck in
We're
this.
starting at number one.
You would then have to institute formal proceedings to request the supervisors to rezone the property, go through that process. Well, there has to be a request, a formal request made. Either the board can initiate it on their own, seeking to rezone the property, or the landowner would petition the board, seeking a rezoning of the property. So you'd have to go through the formal process of doing that, submitting your request and your justifications for it. The board would then go through their proceedings. They have to have a hearing on it before a decision can be made. The planning commission would have to.
If the board would welcome the change, they would initiate it. Again, we would like some feel that.
When I had talked with Harvey months ago about this, he's aware of that, you need to have an attorney prepare that, but didn't want to go to that step, preparing a formal rezoning petition.
Understood.
Without having some idea of where the township would, what's going on in that.
Yeah, I was just saying that once they're ready to do that, that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Personally, conceptually, I think it makes sense. Personally. Again, this is very high level. This is purely in the conceptual phase. But it does seem reasonable.
I don't know, Lorenzo, can you hear everything and talk?
Yep.
Okay, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I was just reading here on my phone, looking at all the pictures that were sent to us in the packet. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple of things that need to get hashed out, but I think it's a good idea as well, personally.
Thanks.
You may want to just even think about it a little bit more, because once, you don't want to go through the process of getting this rezoned and then find out you can't do it. And then if you want to do something else with the property, then come back and ask to have it rezoned something else again. So it may take a little bit more thought of the concept, whether it can or can't be done. And if you want to do it before you start the formal proceedings, just so that you don't go down a road and then run into a brick wall and have to redo it all over again.
Right.
Yep.
That's a good point, because there were a lot of things that were brought up by Brent at the zoning hearing or the planning commission meeting pertaining to just all the utilities and access and all of that. So that should be looked into in a little bit more detail to make sure that it's economically feasible, because the mobile home park zoning district has a pretty restrictive number of uses that can be done in there. Probably the most restrictive of any of the zoning districts. So, but to bring it to point, you do want to explore that a little more.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, does anyone have any? Yes, yes, sir.
Don Miller. What's that zone currently?
It's residential R1.
Okay.
There's actually, I think, a piece of it that's in the commercial zoning district.
Yeah, the front part is commercial, and I think it needs much a little bit of it.
Not much.
Too much.
Right.
I just remember it always being a farm, so that's why I wanted to ask.
Well, it's farm with a mobile home.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
One more,
Yeah. Are you gonna have an entrance?
I'm sorry, name, please.
Anna Ekman,
Thank
are
you.
you gonna have an entrance coming up to 272?
No.
Or you just went up Powell's Hill Road,
Just
like
Powell's
you
Hill.
did now? Thank you.
Okay. Great, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hey, that's it, I think, right?
Yeah, that's all I have, that's all my issues, I think Judy's next.
Yep. Okay, tax collector bond, Judy.
Yes, so the audit committee met and they have a recommendation. And here is the motion. They recommend to keep carrying the selected bond for 1 year at a coverage with a $3 million bond on the tax collector and recommend to drop the traveler's bond altogether. That's their recommendation. I want to make the board aware that the traveler's bond is about 25% of the cost of the selected bond. So the selected bond is about $2,000 and the traveler's bond is about $550.
Okay. For my clarification, when I read this, so their intent is to immediately, the understanding is to immediately cancel the traveler's bond. It is not to wait until that bond goes to its renewal phase and then terminate the bond. That's the question I have.
So I don't know if they answered that question. See that in the motion.
The Travelers is actually a 3-year bond.
Right.
Something else.
Right. That's why,
The traveler's fund will still need to be carried, it just will include our portion of the duplicate. And if we went to put a claim in, our portion of the claim would go to selected, not to travel.
understood. But you understand what I'm asking. What I wasn't quite clear about was a recommendation to request termination immediately of that bond, and then we get credited that premium, or was it?
I believe that's something I probably need to ask the county, since they're the ones that actually get the traveler's bond, and, you know, they pay travelers for the premium, and we reimburse the county.
Okay.
So I don't know if there would be any refund. That's something I'll have to look into.
But either way, do we cancel it now, or was the intent to cancel it when it comes up for the renewal?
Well, I think whether if we cancel it now and we're due a refund, it makes sense, because if you do have a claim, you can't claim
You can't claim it anyway. Right.
under those bonds. So there's no point in having travelers. One sure way we'll get a refund is if we cancel selected, because that is a premium we pay ourselves.
Right. Jeff, question?
Yeah, you bring up a good point there. It wasn't clarified whether now is the time to deal with that on a cancel basis or not. But it really does us no good, because we can't claim on both of them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that it would be a cancel now. Would you be more comfortable if we hold off to get the clarification?
I can call the
Take it until
county
next meeting.
and ask the question, and then I'll have an answer for the next meeting. Typically bonds, at least with selective, in my experience, they'll do like a quarter or a half year refund. Smaller terms than that, there's really no refund to receive. so.
But I wanted that clarified because I wanted to make sure we were following the guidance of the auditor's recommendations on that one. That's why. So, okay. And I agree with Jeff. I think we should table this one, get that clarification from them definitively, and then we can act on it at the next meeting.
We don't want to be making assumptions here.
Not on the bonds, exactly. Yeah. Lorenzo, do you hear that okay?
Yep.
Any questions from your end on that one, or?
Nope, I agree on tabling that.
Okay, all right, so we'll table that one till the next meeting, and then we'll have the action item checked on that. Okay?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Chief, Police Department report.
Good evening.
Good
I
evening.
have a few items tonight, more than I would normally have for the first meeting of the month, but I want to run through a couple of things. First, National Night Out was held Tuesday night in Reamstown Park. I'd like to thank the Park Association for allowing us to use the Reamstown Park. And as I did last year, I'd like to go down the list of all the people or all the businesses that donated. But to my estimate, I would say 600 plus people were there throughout the night. Things went, I heard a lot of positive feedback about things, from the games to food to all that. So I believe we had a great turnout and a really good night. The one thing that we're talking about possibly changing a little bit for next year is trying to somehow incorporate the fire departments a little bit closer to the main area. They're kind of off to the side, which I don't like, but kind of limited. So we may have to shuffle some things around in the park to accomplish that. But that's what I would really like to try to do, is get the fire department more involved with us. It's kind of like we're on two separate levels, and that's not what we want. So but that's one thing I'm going to look at and try and figure it out. I'll talk to the chiefs and go from there. But we, if I may, received donations from Art Pennebacker and I think it's Brad Wolf. It's cut off here. I think that's the name. B&E Notary, Barry's Paint Shop, Bob Reiner Builders, Cocalico Area Hearing Services, Cocalico Builders, Cocalico Plumbing and Heating, Yard Cafe on Main, Crystal Lake Landscape, Denver Cold Storage, Denver Logistics, Direct Wire and Cable, Dogwood Farm Market, Eagle Rental, Albee Hardware, Blue Ridge Cable, Eckert Signs, Effort National Bank, Ernie Dunkelberger Karate Studio, FIP Creative, Galen and Ellen Martin, Harding and Yost Insurance, Harvest Fellowship, Heck Construction, Ingham Powder Coating, Culp's Welding, Alita Investment Corporation, Lincoln Pavement Services, Matt Williams, State Farm Agent, Marcy Insurance, New Holland Transport Logistics, Park Place Diner, Randall Foltz, Real Life Community Services, Reamstown Athletic Association, Reinhold's VFW, Riviera Pizza, Roseboro Straddling, TDS Distributing Incorporated, Tips from Salon, Tyler Fichthorn Electric, Winter Insurance, Walter Engel, Whitmer Motor Service, Zia Maria's Italian Eatery, Zimmerman Industries, and then we received a fruit donation from Four Seasons, all the rolls for the hot dogs from Pepperidge Farms and Goldfish. Hot dogs were donated by Hippie Meats, and Redner's Quick Shop donated, I think it was 10 cases of water. So again, we greatly appreciate all those donations. I think the donations totaled, if not, very close to $9,000. Wow. So that made it, we were able to bring the ice cream truck in, we were able to bring the mechanical bull and all the games and that kind of stuff. So it was a great night, and I have to say thank you to Sergeant Steve Savage. He's been doing it for the last couple of years, getting things together. Officer Rachel Odenwald helped him. Officer Zach Weaver helped set up. Officer Everly and Johnson were in the dunk tank, which they would try to get me in there, and there was no way. But I don't want want to skip anybody. A number of officers were there that night to help. So Corporal Wongo, Officer McCabe, Officer High, Officer Doherty. So it was a very successful night with all the officers pitching in. So it was a good time. Moving on, there was a water leak in the ceiling in the cell room. I noticed some mold growing on one of the ceiling tiles, so I contacted Cocalico Plumbing and Heating. They came out, it was a T-line and one of the cold water lines, so they fixed it right away. So that was taken care of today.
Was the line, what was the diagnosis?
It just had a leak at the T from age, I guess. Yeah. The canine proposal from, I have on here a canine follow-up. I had several people inquire about that, ask me about it. My response to them, and I want to make sure it's the correct response, was that budget time is coming up this year for next year's budget. And I think the canine proposal and the program will be discussed further during budget and then possibly approved either during that time or after that time. So I kind of indicated that it's something that needs to be looked at by the supervisors to make that final decision. But being so close to budget season, I think that's probably the best time to discuss it during the budget meetings and kind of go from there.
May I add to that?
Sure.
Just for the public's understanding also, by all means, if you have follow-up questions, as we have follow-up questions, if you've got clarification you want to know relative to the canine unit, we won't just discuss it during the budget process. Absolutely, now's the time to have a discussion on it as things pop up and as we think about things.
If I can't answer the questions, I'll go to the expert and find out and get back to
A
you.
resident did bring up a facet of that to me about the 501c3. You know, how do you make designations with that towards costs? You know, without knowing how much is you're going to have to cover costs. What, you know, where's the line between tax-free 501c3 money designation versus what the township is expected to reimburse? How does that play out, you know, in a legal perspective, I guess? You know, I guess that would take a little bit of homework with the other agencies to see how they handle that designation.
Something that needs to be done. I can't give you.
Yeah.
I'm not a tax person.
So, you know, it would be, Brian and Nick would be able to assist us with that and kind of go from there.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, you start, where's the line?
And I don't know if we can set that up, set parameters. So, okay, the dog food for the year is going to be paid for by the 501c3. And, you know, the toys or the vet care or the whatever would be, that would have to look at.
I think part of that too is we're not reinventing the wheel. There's other departments that have it. So we just go take a, you know, I'm sure they'd be helpful in showing us how they're doing it. And we just mirror what they're doing.
Yeah, that's who's helped us out tremendously. Sergeant Juan's been great and their canine handler, name's mine, but you've been great with a long way, so yeah, we can definitely find that information out there.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the way I left it. That's to be determined.
And then final thing I have on the agenda is the new breathalyzer device. We currently have a Data Master breathalyzer. It's down in the lab. We bring people back that we suspect being intoxicated or driving under the influence. We have them come back and we perform the test on that machine or that device. It has been down now for approximately 3 weeks. and Officer Logan High took it to ILEA. It's the organization where we were all trained to use the data master to see if they could come up with a solution, and they could not. So now the data master has to be shipped to I think it's St. Louis, but I'm not 100% sure where. It's out of state, and we don't know a time frame. In fact, we're having some difficulty getting a response from them. So I don't know if they're that busy or just that understaffed. So we have been going to other departments when we need a breathalyzer, which does happen. The units do go down, they go out of service. It's not a common thing, but several officers have gone to New Holland Police Department, which I would like to thank them for their assistance. New Holland Police Department has an intoxilizer. It's a different brand, it's a different device, and the officers had conversations with some New Holland officers. The device is much easier to use. It very rarely goes out of service. The subject has to give less of a breath sample. So there's various things which they're saying make the intoxilizer easier to use. There is a trooper out of the Lancaster Barracks of Pennsylvania State Police that is willing. Officer High spoke to him. He would be willing to come up for a day class to cross-train our officers to use the intoxilizer. So they would be able to, it's not a class where everybody has to go for 4 days like we did before. It's just a transition class and then the use. I asked Officer High to give some benefits in reference to the intoxilizer compared to the data master. Again, he said there's new moving parts, less things to break. The only thing inside of this device is a fan that cools it. It requires half the amount of breath than our current instrument. When you have an intoxicated subject, we make them, but they have to sit 20 minutes without doing certain things, whether it's, I don't want to get too technical, but burping or things like that. They can't do that. We're looking for deep lung air. So when you have somebody that's rather intoxicated and you are asking them and encouraging them to continue to blow and blow and blow to get that deep lung air, it's sometimes very challenging. If the person doesn't give enough breath, they have to wait and then do it again. So that's one of the things with half the amount of breath that goes into the intoxilizer compared to the data master is a big benefit. It is portable. The other device is not. So if we would decide to do a checkpoint, DUI checkpoint at some time in the future, or if there would be another department that would need it and need to utilize it, we could put it in the specialized services unit and take it out in the street. Again, the cross training is somewhat limited in reference to time frame. It's not another 4-day class. New Holland has had their unit, and I don't mean to speak for New Holland, but this is from our Officer High. Their unit for 2 years, and it has never gone out of service. PSP Barracks has had there for over 5 years and has never gone out of service. So things that put it out of service, if the subject happens to suck back in, or if there's a lot of ambient alcohol in the air right next to the device, it's some things that can put it out of service. It has a 30-day accuracy test and an annual report. That's somewhat similar to the other, but it does produce those forms immediately for the officers each time they do a test. And we are only sending the instrument to Harrisburg to be repaired by a company called Guth Laboratories. Yeah, it is St. Louis. Data master would have to go to. So if something would go wrong with the intoxilizer, we would only have to send it to Harrisburg, which we would definitely drive it there. We currently charge $100 per breath test. That goes into the district attorney's office, and we eventually, through restitution, get that back. Again, I don't want to say that we get tons of checks in reference to this immediately. Some defendants are only paying $5 a month for various restitutions, so it does take a while to get it back. I looked at the numbers today, and as of today, my calculations are correct, and the record system told me what I needed it to tell me. We've had 61 DUI arrests. And if we're charging $100, and we may up that in the future to $150, but we're charging $100 per test, again, we would almost have the unit paid for. It would be approximately $9,227.95. If we don't purchase the printer, which I don't think that we're going to need to purchase a printer because we have a printer with the old unit, it would be $8,862.95. So I am requesting permission to go ahead with the purchase of the intoxilizer device. Obviously, when we commend our officers for their 19 DUI arrests in the year 2021, and we have many other officers that make many arrests. DUIs is something that I say it this way, but we're known for. So it's a device that we need, and that is my sales pitch in reference to going out and purchasing the intoxilizer. Officer High's understanding is that once we get the data master fixed, we will be able to sell that. He spoke to the individual who attempted to help him figure out what was wrong with the device, and he said they're going resale value approximately $2,500 to $5,000. So that's the plan with that. We would definitely get that in working order and sell that, whether it's on Gov Deals or whatever that site is, or Municipals. We would definitely do that. We would not need two devices. So,
How old is that unit?
I want to say at least 5 years. That is a question I forgot to ask.
Many times in that time frame has it needed repaired?
We never had to send it out. It's gone out of service several times, and Sergeant Projan was the technician. Now Officer High is a technician, so he would have to come in and run some tests with the solutions that we buy that have certain percentages of alcohol in them, and recalibrate and reset the machine. So it has gone out of service. It's not a frequent occurrence, but it has in the past. And my understanding is that there are other departments in the area that also have the data master that are not, theirs are not functioning right now either. So it makes it somewhat limited. If we only suspect alcohol in somebody, we can only do a breath test. We can't drive them to the Ephrata hospital, and unless they request it, do a blood draw. So we are limited by court rulings on what we can do.
We ever get reimbursed on the blood draws?
Yes, but again, $250 a month. So, and I mean $2.50 a month, not $250.
Chief. I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm sorry, from my understanding, am I hearing correctly then with the data master that when your officers need to do a breathalyzer, they're driving to some other municipality to do it?
Correct.
With the individual in the car?
And that, as much as I don't like that occurring,
Right.
that has been done in the past when the device is down. And some departments, again, these are expensive pieces of equipment. So if some departments don't have these, then they would also do the same, take it somewhere. Yes, I mean,
Okay.
right now we're having to drive into a home.
Okay, so let me follow up with another question then. From the way you're describing it, for me, in the high-tech arena, it seems to me like the intoxilizer has got a lot more technical advancements than what Data Master probably invested. It sounds to me that way.
Yeah,
That's my opinion.
I think it's two different, like you said, technologies at work, with different devices.
So here's my other question. You mentioned the breath test fee. We call it fee. If I'm incorrect.
No, it's, yeah.
Fee of $100. Who sets that amount?
We
Is that- we do
It
set
was
that?
$75 and we upped it about a year and a half ago. I think it was 2 years ago to $100.
Okay, so we do have the flexibility to adjust that.
We did.
So,
Again, I want to clarify, we're not in the business of making money doing breath tests.
of course,
That's not what we're trying to do, but Pennsylvania law has allowed departments to charge for a fee for the breath test. So that's what,
I'm gonna give you my opinion based on a couple of items, based on what you're saying. And you've heard me say this many times in the past few years. For me, the liability exposure of an officer going outside East Cocalico with someone else in the vehicle to go do a breathalyzer is unacceptable. Okay? I think you need to have that equipment in house, period, because of the liability exposure. Heaven forbid you get T-boned, you get it head-on while they're going elsewhere. Also, I personally think this is a critical function item. I think you gotta have it working and it's gotta be functioning properly in-house, period. That's how I feel about
Do we have a register of unpaid balances?
That was not the way, the bills come from a place called NMS, and the payments come from, I believe it is the,
that's for the
court's
blood.
office.
Correct, that's for the blood.
So, over the last 2-3 years with COVID, I've barely seen any payments being made on these accounts. This year, the last couple of months, I've seen $2-3 checks start coming in. So I'm sure at some point, when the courts get back up to full capacity, we'll start seeing payments flowing again, but right now, like Chief said, it's like $2-3 a month these people are paying.
And again, when we say $2-3 a month, I've seen the spreadsheet, if you will, of a defendant's fines and costs. And you're talking potentially several $1,000s. So again, sure, some people have the ability to pay that off with a check. Other people don't have the means to do that, so they set up a payment plan with the clerk of courts. So when they make a payment, either clerk of courts, probation, whatever they do, they're taking a chunk out of all those line items. So I don't want to disparage anybody by saying, oh, they're only giving us $2. Like, they're not just walking in the clerk of courts or probation and paying $2. It's a lot of line items on that, from drug and alcohol classes to fines to all those things. So again, I don't want to disparage anyone, but that's why we're usually seeing such a low amount.
Could be a $50 check split, 1,000 or more.
Correct. Yes.
So,
I'm sorry.
I'm
I was
sorry,
just
go
gonna
ahead.
say, in terms of the liability of the results, is there any difference between the two machines?
No, they're all certified, and the annual and the monthly tests indicate that the machine, I'm not supposed to call it a machine, the device is functioning properly.
Okay,
So Chief, let me ask you this, you have your budget, right? So,
I do.
so is this an item?
It's not an item I was expecting to. Now, we do have capital purchases, but again, we're getting 2 cars delivered hopefully within a week and a half, and possibly a truck at the end of the year. So I was going to ask, and I'm not sure, again, I don't want to keep walking up to the money tree and picking the branches off, but I I know we have some money called ARPA that's out there that I'm not sure if this would qualify. But again,
Equipment replacement.
We also do have that, large bins for recycling. We had estimated that we would get about $225,000, and it turned out to be closer to $330,000. So there was an overage in the budget of $105,000 in that recycling grant, which could be used for a purpose that hasn't been allocated to any other purpose. Otherwise, it would just be put in a fund balance for future years. This sounds like a need that we have now. So there is room in the budget to make this purchase, because, it's definitely needed.
See, regardless of whether it's covered by ARPA or not, it's a critical function item. It's something we need. And all we need is one bad liability case, because we're transporting someone from A to B because our equipment was not working. And that will be significantly higher than the cost of the equipment.
In your opinion, is that even ARPA eligible?
I would say yes. As long as we do the appropriation, budget adjustment appropriation, we do with the other items that we added to the budget after the fact. I believe it would be yes.
Okay, you're the expert on ARPA funds.
Okay, so any questions from the public? This is important, yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Brian
starting from the
Wise.
left. No, Brian,
Quick question.
Alan beat you to it.
Thanks for respect your elder. Fine. Chief, you get the okay today, how soon can you get the unit in?
lead time is 4 to 12 weeks, but I'm hoping 4. If we need to.
For something, would be 6 months or something.
Well, and if shipping's gonna be a problem, I can always drive to Kentucky and get it.
We just discussed liability.
I mean,
You're gonna take the note, you're gonna take the ballot.
I'm sorry, Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, Brian Weiss. Chief, what's the warranty on that new machine? You talked about the other one that was there a couple times. I mean, that ought to be into the play here on, you said the other, New Holland and State had having good luck with these things, but it's gonna be in the sales pitch here. What's the warranty on it?
it did not say on the vote that I received.
Okay, that's only up there, but the second thing, you talked about having the current machine fixed and then put on either, bid is a bid or go deal or whatever, but my theory on that is that if that thing's that old, then better to stick good money and try and fix it and then sell it for less than what you have in it, and just awful thing.
Yeah, if I would learn we would try and find out first what the cost is going to be. It's going to be $200 to fix it. Then we'll go ahead, it's going to be $5,000. Then bottom. But yeah, that's definitely something.
Yeah, it sounds like this stuff here is, it's 5 years old, it's a dinosaur brand.
Right.
Okay, that's the only question I have, thank you.
I think there was one more. Yes, sir.
Don Miller. If it's an item that's that important to the force, which it should be, shouldn't there be like a backup? I know it's expensive, but shouldn't there be a backup? Just food for thought. Very important item.
Yeah, good question. I just don't know what your SOPs are.
Well, I mean, if you want to prove 2 tonight, that would be also, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But I think the fact that 2 different places including the state police, has not had that issue or any issues. 5 years is kind of telling of what, no, I agree, I wish, but it's one of those where, and I'm hoping that the service we would receive from Guth in Harrisburg would be a drive, a fix, and a drive back.
Or if it's a minimal cost to repair the old here. I know it's good to get the money,
too, right?
but you keep it as a backup and evaluate.
And that's what we'd have to determine if it's worth it.
Okay, thank you. I saw one more.
Right, call the doctor, just said, so I think just keep the old one as a backup.
Not a bad idea.
It does hurt to suck up that cost for a minimal time that you use it. That one time that you need it, it's very important.
Can't you get the county to donate a new?
I'm sorry, Brian, name please.
Brian Wise, can't you get the county to donate the new
The state DUI, Officer Kreischer one, was one of the officers, they gave away a very nice portable, but they're not the ones you can use in court. Portable breath test is not, you can refer to it and say somebody had been consuming alcohol. That's how you can say. And the portable ones you can use in court are really expensive.
Lorenzo, any questions on that one?
Nope. I mean, it's like you guys said, it's an important item, and being that it's broken, we do need one, so.
Okay, thank you. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I will make a motion authorizing the chief to go ahead and purchase a data master.
No,
I'm sorry.
the toxilizer,
I'm sorry, Intoxilizer
I-9000.
I-9000 breathalyzer. Again, an Intoxilizer I-9000 breathalyzer.
Instead of a not to exceed price of $9,300.
With a not to exceed price of $9,300, which is what you have now. Okay.
Hopefully we don't need the printer and ours is compatible. I don't see why it wouldn't be. So it should be less.
So I make that motion, and do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, and that motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, Chief, just, if you don't mind, a couple of action items there. I think it was Brian. Just check on that warrant.
Yeah, I have a text out to Officer High, and I'm not sure if I'll get something back, but I'll definitely look it up.
And I guess you can come back to us with what's the best thing to do strategically with the data master. Does it get auctioned off? Do we repair it, or do we keep it as a backup?
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you be giving guidance on where you want that paid from? Whether it would be ARPA or capital?
We, of course, would go to ARPA initially if we can. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Initially, we go to ARPA. The magic tree I hear is still dropping leaves. Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Okay. Sharon, Director of Community Development.
I have a question for the chief.
Yes, ma'am.
Anna Ensign. On Wabash Road, are trucks allowed to go up and down Wabash Road?
Yes.
Tractor trailer trucks?
Yes. If a truck comes straight across Indian Town Road, it's allowed to go straight across.
Yeah.
If a truck comes from 272, it's allowed to, and if a truck comes from traveling south on South Line Road and makes a left turn, they're allowed to be on the Wabash Road.
We had one come down Wabash and they had left on the line road.
That is allowed.
Thank you.
No, sure.
Thank you. Okay, Sharon.
I just have a couple of relatively minor items. I don't think it was in your packet, but, there's a zoning hearing board, hearing, next Wednesday, August 10th. Just one hearing. It's on 2528 North Reading Road, which is a currently vacant commercial property that sits right next to the Reading's Marvin access drive. It's been I guess an antique shop most recently. There's a new property owner who wants to change the use from that to a contractor shop. And ironically, that property is actually in the mobile home park zoning district, even though, to the best of my knowledge, it's never been a part of the operation of the mobile home park, but somehow or other it got included in the zoning district. Zoning maps, they're not really great about fine scale determinations of property lines at any rate. So to have another commercial use, even one is permitted in zoning area that's commercial zoning district, requires a variance. So the new owner is going in front of the zoning hearing board to deal with that. And there are also, I think, a couple of apartments on the second floor of that building, and it's not totally clear to me. I think he wants to renovate them or something like that. So that's the purpose of the hearing on Wednesday. The other item is, and I see Jeff is not here, but he had asked a couple of meetings ago about chickens. Dan Bird. I did actually research that. He had referenced a section when he was looking at the code online that said that it had been deleted or eliminated. What it actually did was kick you to another section of the zoning ordinance. So I think that the non-commercial keeping of livestock had just gotten shifted to another section, but it is still there. And chickens actually are permitted. They are livestock, and they are. It's actually an accessory use. Along with keeping of rabbits or other types of livestock, not for commercial purpose, and it's based on it's not specific to any zoning district. So theoretically, any zoning district you can keep backyard chickens, but there are requirements. There's a minimum 1 acre lot size, for example. For in this case, you can have 12 per acre, so maximum of 12 on 1 acre. Ultimate maximum of 50 chickens, and then there are different setback requirements based on the number of animals. And then finally, those outdoor areas do have to be closed with a fence. So I can communicate that to Dan. I thought that he might be here tonight to explain that to him, but we do in every place in the township.
So there is an acreage minimum?
1 acre.
Small lots.
It would. And there's no real differentiation between animal. Let's see. They sort of break down the animals into 3 groups, and the smallest, it's uncounted. So the smallest animals, which these would fall under, have a minimum of 1 acre, and so that would go up to probably include things like goats, probably small goats, sort of rabbits, that sort of thing. And then above that, it's 2 acres.
If the bird comes and asks to have a cow in the backyard, that would probably be a no.
You have to have 2 acres. But the short version, short answer is they actually, in fact, are permitted everywhere in the township. He had said that what he saw was that they were not permitted anywhere in the cemeteries, so that's not true.
Okay. Good to know.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have.
Yes, sir.
1 year warning.
Cool, thank you.
Okay. That was it?
That's all.
Okay. Any questions for Director? Okay. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, MS4, Ken.
Busy, working on the inspections, round the letters out for people who hadn't responded the first time. There were about 11, so that happens. And I've heard a number of those so far after the inspections. Other accountants haven't replied yet. There are still some that are follow up with those. We've been working on the new 2022 stormwater ordinance. DEP, as part of the MS4 permit, is requiring everybody to upgrade their stormwater management ordinance to be consistent with a model ordinance for 2022 that DEP put out. And Sharon and myself and Brent and Casey have been working on that project. It's a fairly substantial, complex project, and there's a lot of discussion on what changes we want to make. But it's underway and it's got to be done for us.
Yeah, actually, I had confirmed with Matt that it only needs to be advertised once, that the ordinance, 7 days prior to the meeting at which the board considers it for adoption. I think at this point, we need to get it to you informally by the next meeting, so you can, as an information item, so you can look at the ordinance. And then the following meeting, I think we'd be looking for you to authorize advertising, if I'm right on that timeline. I have to double check that, so that we can actually have the hearing in time to get the ordinance to DEP, the adopted ordinance to DEP. So that would be coming up definitely later than the next meeting.
The finalized, fully adopted, the ordinance needs to go to them by the end of September for their annual school report. So it's worth it. It's been complicated getting everybody together because folks down in Becker are pretty busy.
Have you sent it to Matt, to review?
Not yet,
Okay.
because we're
Still working on it, okay.
There are some sticky portions of the ordinance that don't really, in fact, work very well from the county's model. Everybody seems to have, and we're just trying to make sure that we get that and to be more functional. So we've taken care of the DEP compliance items, really. It's making, at this point, trying to make this ordinance work so there aren't a lot of ambiguities and unanswered questions that come up constantly when we go to administer the ordinance. So that's the stuff that's been really difficult to work through. So we are at the pretty much just about the finish line. So we'll get that to them as soon as we get it done, which hopefully will be in the next week or so.
Okay, that's the main stuff. So I don't know if there are any questions.
Any questions for Ken? Okay, thank you, Ken. Okay, moving on to Treasurer's Report.
Treasurer's report. At our last meeting, the board gave Judy and myself the authority to move ahead with Ephrata National Bank once their proposal came in for our funds that are there. I believe the board has that letter from the bank in the packet. I'll just highlight a couple of the bullet points there. Our current rate on the account that's there is gaining interest at a 0.020, which is basically not a whole lot. Effort has agreed to raise that to a 0.55. And on the funds that we traditionally keep there, it'll give us in the neighborhood of in excess of $15,000 in interest on a yearly basis. So that's all good news. the one other component that I think the board should talk about a little bit tonight is the cash management system, where they want to charge us $100 a month for check processing. They will allow us to have, provide us a scanner so that when our financial administrator receives a check, it can be scanned in and done almost instantaneously rather than save them and go to the bank once or twice a week. So this will eliminate bank trips for our financial administrator or treasurer. I see that as a big plus too. Inefficiency from our financial administrator point of view, but we will be charged $100 a month for that service.
And I want to clarify that we currently get charged about $43 because we do the direct deposit for payroll. Those fees are about $43, so this would change from $43 to $100. So only an increase of $7.
Thank you for the clarification. So that's the main bullet points of what they're providing for us. Any questions from the board? No. Yeah, I see it all as positives. How about you, Lorenzo? Anything there that noteworthy from your end?
Welcome to 2022.
Yes.
Now it's nice to have the scan features to deposit checks and save trips, and I think that'll come in handy for Judy.
Okay.
And there's other savings too. I currently make a copy of every check at the copy machine. This will create a copy as a scan, so it serves two purposes and saves me time. Will save me time from running out here and make copies. So I honestly think that the other little money we'll be saving will make up for $7 that it's costing.
Because we're adding that component of an extra expenditure, perhaps we should have a motion on that. What's your thought?
I would make a motion for it.
Yeah.
That is an extra.
Yeah.
Even though it's minor, you want to make that motion?
Sure, let me do that. I make a motion that the board adopt the Ephrata National Bank letter dated July 28th of 2022 with the changes as previously discussed.
I will second that motion. Give it a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. That motion carries.
Okay. I think that helps us out in the long run here with gaining more interest. So, okay, let's get to the list of bills then. We have a electric payment list of bills for payroll period of July 17th to July 30th, and the amount of $92,296.15. I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second that. So we have a motion and we have a second. Any questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. That motion carries.
Okay. And we also have check payment for the liquid fuels state fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $88,701.20. So the check dated of August 4th, 2022. I make a motion to approve.
And I will second that. We have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Just as a point of reference there, that was for Martin Paving for some chip and sealing work that was done through contract basis.
And I believe there wasn't an overage on that from the original contract, because the price of the material increased. I believe it was like $4,075.
Yeah, I think there's a clause in the bidding that allows
There was.
that. Yeah. So, anyway.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, and that motion carries.
Okay, and we have a general fund list of bills of $84,982.45 with checks dated August 4th of 2022. Is there any questions there? Yes, sir.
Don Miller, check number 62721, Barlow Communications. Is that extra work being done, or was that on their maintenance?
I think that was the extra work for doing the, when we, yeah, when we needed them to do some things, with the phone tree and careful as that went with the departure of Betty and getting our new third party on board. They made some changes to, the phone tree when we call in.
So the call options call in.
Yeah, if you call in, it directs people to go directly to
Yeah.
Technicon and kind of give them a better idea of who to call. And I know they had said that was not going to be part of their regular contract.
And it's taking Mike Hessian out of the
Sure.
trailer.
Taking some to fire up.
So, that's that as well.
It was a number of housekeeping items related to the system.
I understand. Thank you. Another question, check number 62735. Lots of office supplies.
Yep, takes a lot to run a building. Now, there's things that go out to the shed there as well.
And
Okay.
there's also supplies for the building, paper towels.
Okay.
We did order a bunch of laser printer ink, which is very
That'll do it.
expensive.
Dave? That's it. Thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Seeing none, well, let me just add to that, the new truck payment is in there too. Almost 50,000 of it was that. So, seeing no more questions, I make a motion to approve as presented.
And I will second that. So we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, motion carries.
And that's your treasurer's report for this evening.
Okay, thank you. All right, so new business, 2023 insurance renewal. Judy.
Yes, so, when I attended the PSATS conference, I spoke to a representative from Gowan Insurance, and, they recommended, possibly doing like getting quotes from different brokers, and I was looking for, permission to go ahead and do that this year when we do our insurance renewal. McGowan did send me a bunch of forms that need to be completed, which I can certainly do and send back to them, so they can, prepare their pricing and have it at the same time as, Kilmer.
Yeah, no, I think that's something we absolutely should do, because I don't think we've done that for a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. Alan, way back, a long time, right?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And if you want to add any other vendors, I can certainly ask them as well.
Where's the gallon from there?
Oh, gosh. I know they're in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Don't believe I printed her email when I received it.
working in a lot of states. We'll find that.
Okay, so you don't need a motion for that, that's just administrative. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I should pursue it.
Yes, please. Right, Jeff?
Yes.
Yeah. Lorenzo?
Yep.
Okay. Right, and then I have one informational item. The rec board is going to be sending out a survey to the Old Homestead community. It's a survey that the rec board had decided to do in terms of a proposal for soccer. Let's see if we get this correct. I don't want to mess this up. It was for soccer being played at the Old Homestead Park location. So they did have a meeting, they did make a motion, they are going to be sending out a survey to the residents of Old Homestead, and that survey will be circulated to them to see what their reaction is in terms of the feasibility of going ahead and having soccer played there at the field. There's actually 4 questions in the survey. One of the questions is, there's been a proposal to create soccer fields at the Old Homestead with the purpose of hosting Cocalico youth soccer during the fall 22, spring 23 season. Are you in favor of this proposal? And then there's a box at the bottom for them to answer. Then there is, what suggestions do you have for an alternate space for the soccer club? Then the next question is, traffic and parking throughout Old Homestead has been raised as a concern for creating soccer space. Weaver's Market has volunteered the use of their parking lot to be accessed via the paver path to the proposed soccer field. Are you in favor of the soccer fields in the development with this alternative parking area? And then the final question in their survey is, your thoughts and suggestions are very much appreciated. Please list any other thoughts you may have. So that's what they're going to be sending out.
Is this projected to be a mailer or email or a mailer? Required postage. I record their recommendation more and more. If they're spending money, it has to go through us, does it?
Don't they have a small budget?
They do.
They have a small budget, they can do that through their budget.
If they have a budget for
Yeah, they have their own
what would
budget.
be their expenses, yes.
Okay,
An administrative expense would be one that would be authorized to be paid out of that budget, yeah.
thank you.
Okay. So, old business for discussion, LERTA. We did receive an email from the school, I'm sorry, Sharon, you want to comment on
No,
that
it's
one?
all right, we're still, the short version is that we're still waiting for the school district to take formal action at a meeting, which I believe is going to happen on August 22nd. And once they've done that, then we get that information to the county, then the county will. What they want to hear.
Hopefully, cool.
Yeah, well, hopefully, yeah. So it's plodding along.
Okay. Chevy Impala, set up with pictures and financials. And
Chair, I would ask that be tabled till Labor Day.
okay. We will do that, we'll table that one. Okay. Public comment for non-agenda items. Again, please just state your names clearly. It helps us and it helps Lisa with the meeting minutes. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. We gave you guys last September, last year, the one on Wabash line. We put signs up the trucks can't turn, make a right hand turn there. But that does no good because they don't pay attention to the sign. So have you given it any more thought as to how you can help us with that?
You know, we've talked this thing over and over and over. You know, the issue becomes GPS. I think we've all come to an agreement on that. GPS taking trucks back there where they shouldn't be. And, you know, how do we definitively get them where they should be and not where they shouldn't be?
I don't know that taking that corner away isn't solving anything, it's just opening it up for them to come forward. In our yard, brother and brother.
And we do understand the easement issue, and we're working on that. But when you expand that corner, you give them more viability to make that corner and just get it off. They do admit, and you can ask the chief or his officers, they have, oh yeah, I've seen the sign, but I couldn't make it. So I don't know if it's so much as to say a GPS issue as it is an intelligent issue or a stupidity issue, to put it mildly. But
They shouldn't be back there to start.
what's a long-term solution? I'm not sure.
They're coming off of 272 to go to Garden Spot to come Line Road to go to Wabash. If they would stay on 272, they'd be right there in the next intersection. They can make their left, they'd come right into Four Seasons, and there'd be no problem.
Right. Exactly right.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's kind of a theory of mine, but I'm interested in whether this is, I've been thinking about this from the perspective of what's the root cause? What's causing a 53-footer to go out, around, and then come around to your house?
Yeah.
The question that I have is, when you approach the red light at Wabash, on the right-hand side, there's a sign there that says no trailers. Now, it is marked correctly and it says no trailers, and I believe it says no left turn for the trailers. What I'm wondering is, when the tractor trailers go through there and the light is actually green, are they just focusing in on that sign that says no trailers at Wabash? It says it there. Chief, there's a real small sign there.
They're not even making it to that intersection.
They're going
They're
down
not-
Garden
they're
Spot.
not
They're
going-
coming, I think
And are they
either
going
coming-
around?
They're either coming 272,
Line Road to Wabash, back down to 272 or North Ray Road.
either that or they're passing Four Seasons and then going to Garden Spot to come to Line Road to go to Wabash, which they would just.
A lot of them are
We don't
coming,
know exactly what they're doing, but they all say that they're coming down Garden Spot. The GPS is bringing them Garden Spot, the Line Road to Wabash.
Right.
He has contacted the GPS. They said they have their end fixed, but the truckers have to update their GPS, and unless they do that. And we've talked to Jason Hollier, and we've talked to the Garden Shack, and asked them to please talk to your guys and have them update their GPS. But these guys see the sign, we have a light at the sign that says no right turn so that they can see it. We have rocks out, we have lights at the rocks so that they can see that there's lights there and that they should not be turning there, but they turn there anyway. We just had another accident there the other 11 o'clock the other night.
The reason I brought up that is I did have someone I know who's a truck driver who's not from the area actually mentioned that you're not supposed to turn at all on Wabash, and they go around to Garden Spot and come around the
so
back.
that's the first I've heard them coming from
So
322 down 272 to Shannon Road, the line, or Garden Spot, the line.
So what I personal opinion, what I think is happening is there's not one simple answer here, one simple solution. I think it's a lot of things that are causing this. Between
We've pretty much done
GPSs,
everything, we can do. That's why we came to you for help in the first place, because we did what we could do, and we couldn't do anymore.
And you and I talked about the IT part of it.
yes,
I did contact, here we go, is the mapping solution for all the GPS. They eliminated that term. But unless truck drivers themselves update their system, there's nothing we can do.
they're running with the old maps.
Unless they use the intelligence that they have, and I know we all have friends that are truck drivers, but I feel that they have a lack of intelligence. That's my opinion.
You're living it,
It's a nightmare.
you're living it, and it continues to be a real,
We don't get any sleep. I've been awake since 1:30 this morning
it's
because
very difficult. I know.
of those trucks.
I don't know if we as a municipality, I'm gonna look at our director of community development. I don't know if there's a quick review of signage or traffic flow or anything that would help. I just don't know at this point.
Well, there's a lot of traffic there. In the
You
morning
know,
and
from Route 2.
in the evening because of all the developments going in there.
Well, I mean, John's already said that from a technical engineering standpoint, in terms of physical improvements, all that can be done is, look, the radius needs to be improved, is the engineering answer in that intersection, and we talked about that's the traffic engineer's recommendation.
So basically, that's taking our property away, basically.
You would.
But we pay taxes on that property.
I'm just telling you I'm answering our question that the engineering answer is that.
Thank you.
Something needs to be done there. I don't know what to do anymore. If I was a bad person, I would do something really bad, but I'm not. I'm trying to not be a bad person, but it's going to be very hard.
Thank you.
So we do need your help.
I hear you. I empathize with you. Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Chief, the I-9000, is that a smaller footprint than the old unit, Commodore 64 versus the mini?
I haven't seen it, but from what I'm being told, it's a smaller portable unit. So, yeah.
So
The other one's about this big.
The other, the equipment online was pretty small. I would say if you're gonna be taking it on the road, you got checkpoints, I'd suggest get a case.
Yeah, we'll probably get a
Walking back out, something.
can't think of the name, but yeah, one of those weatherized cases.
Delicate.
Yeah, that's
delicate.
So what do? You come to a supervisor meeting to research breathalyzers?
I want to try to help them out. And you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, the next supervisors meeting will be held on Thursday, August 18th at 7 p.m. in person and via live Zoom. That will be held here at the Township Building. And I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries. Thank you, Lorenzo.
Yep, have a good one.
So Mr. Miller,